Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are diving into the practical, often misunderstood world of artificial intelligence. In 2026, it's not enough for AI to just respond. It needs to understand context, tone, and intent to truly drive business growth, especially within complex franchise networks. Joining us is Charlie Delia, co founder of Fermion AI Group. With a background shaped by direct experience in franchisee systems and a discipline forged in competitive boxing, Charlie builds operational systems that create alignment across multi location brands. He is here to talk about emotionally aware tech and why vibe coding might be hurting your business. So, before further ado, let's dive in. Firstly, Charlie, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Charlie, you and your father Paolo founded Fermion AI to bridge very specific gaps you saw in the franchisee and multi-location world. So let's start by understanding the story. What inspired you to create Fermion AI, and how do your AI habits influence your products in a way? Go ahead.
Great question. So Fermion AI Group actually started it as a family joint venture. So
Hmm.
between my dad Paolo and then my two brothers, Nicholas and Paolo Jr.
Yeah.
We created this company for two key main reasons. The first one being simple, we became very heavy users of AI ourselves.
Hmm.
It started as ChatGPT, kind of replacing Google
Yeah.
in a way, and using that to rewrite our emails, proofread them. And then after that, it kind of just kept taking steps and steps above that, brainstorming ideas and even personal stuff. I remember one time I caught my dad using ChatGPT. I had to deal with me being too stubborn, right? I remember getting into an argument with him and he
Yeah.
was using that. So from there, it kind of all clicked. Like, if we're using this so much, how powerful can it really get? Right, and
Yeah.
this kind of brings me to my second reason. We realize there's still a ton of problems that haven't been touched upon, uh,
Hmm.
using AI, or the current tools being made just aren't good enough. So my father, with the direct experience in, the franchise systems,
Yeah.
he saw how AI can help these systems, but nobody's doing what these people are doing yet. And our idea is to take things and make them super simple.
Hmm.
We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to make these tools people already use work the way they should. Less
Yeah.
friction, more simplicity. The goal is to make something so easy that you'd recommend it to your grandmother,
Right.
right? And everyone thinks AI is already saturated and that you're too late, but I see it more like Apple right after the iPhone came out in 2007, right? The breakthrough had already happened. It
Yeah.
already happened, but the real growth
Exactly.
came after.
Right.
Apple went from a $150 billion company to over 3 trillion. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I see AI right now. Like, the technology works, the adoption is starting, but we're at the beginning of what it can become.
Now that's very well articulated. And, Charlie, I love the clarity of thought that you have because definitely using personal experience to, solve real world operational gaps, it ensures that technology remains grounded in what business owners actually need, right? Now, let's explore the common misconceptions about AI and, what it really means for SMBs. So, with AI now coming into the picture, there are a lot of assumptions that are being made without any, background or any uh, proof. So, a lot of the SMEs that are listening to this podcast right now, uh, how would you clarify this to them? How do business owners misunderstand about AI, and how soon do you think it'll become essential?
I think the biggest misunderstanding is that AI isn't here to replace people.
Hmm.
It's here to remove friction,
Yeah.
right? A lot of business owners, especially the ones who have been successful for so many years, look at AI as a threat to their systems. And that's completely understandable, but if something's working, why change it, right?
Yeah.
Um, AI isn't replacing anything. It's not replacing what works. It's automating that part that slows you down. The repetitive tasks,
Yeah.
the inefficiencies. So your team can then focus on higher value work, right?
Exactly.
That being said, I understand why a lot of business owners become skeptical. And even being in the AI space myself, I wouldn't trust a lot of these tools that are out on the market. AI isn't something you just put into your business and it magically starts working. You know, you need
Yeah.
clear prompting, a defined use case, and if you skip all that, you'll get bad results. And
Right.
that's why a lot of people try AI once, and then after a bad experience, they'll write it off completely. Right.
Right. No, definitely, I think shifting this focus from, as you correctly said, magic to measurable systems is the only way, for small businesses to see a real return on their tech investment. And, in a leadership position, or if you're the founder yourself, you often try to do all the things yourself, right? And your plate is too full. With AI now coming into the picture, it is going to automate majority of the tasks so that your brain can have the bandwidth to think about and make important decisions that actually matter rather than just
Exactly.
being in the workflow. That's great to know, Charlie. Now let's discuss why unstructured AI use leads to poor results and missed ROI, or as I call it, opportunity cost. So firstly, explain. I mentioned in the beginning as well, vibe coding. Firstly, please explain as a layman what vibe coding is, and then why is this harmful, and what do you suggest should businesses focus on instead?
Yeah. So vibe coding is pretty much getting AI to code your entire project,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's a very interesting topic. It's honestly something I talk about a lot. And at its core, my opinion is pretty simple. Vibe coding can build a project. I'm not saying it's bad, but it can't build a company.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, it has a ton of advantages. It's fast, accessible, and it's great for testing ideas. And you can go from nothing to a working product very quickly, which is incredibly valuable,
Mm-hmm.
especially in early stages. But the main problem is what happens after that, right? A lot of people stop there. Let me get AI code all everything, and then now I'm releasing it to the public.
Uh-huh.
They launch really quickly, and it looks good on the surface. Maybe you'll get a few users if your marketing's good, but underneath there's no structure, there's no scalability, and most importantly, there's no reliability.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can
Right.
almost tell when something is purely vibe coded. From my perspective, in being in the software industry, not just in the products, but in the details, the UI, the performance, or how they just crumble under pressure,
Yeah.
right? This is where it becomes really harmful because even to me, it becomes harmful because when those products fail,
Yeah.
especially when they're in real business environments, it doesn't hurt the company, it hurts the industry as a whole. It creates a
Yeah.
negative perception of AI, and a business will try out one tool that is purely vibe coded, and now it doesn't work properly. And then it's
Yeah.
just like, "Hey, oh, AI is not there. Give it a sweet,"
Yeah.
right?
No,
Um,
so you'd say that vibe coding is also a kind of shortcut that companies take to look good on the surface of it. Is that how you'd put it?
um, definitely, or a lot of people who fall for who wanna get into AI early, but they don't have that tech background because it's pretty clear to see that AI is the future,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of people, they tried to get in and they're getting in the wrong way. They're saying, let me just throw out a product and hope it
Hmm.
works," right? Instead,
Right.
either learning or becoming part of a company that is adapting AI, right?
Right. No, definitely, magic is not going to happen, as you correctly said. It's going to take a lot of effort from intentional effort from our end. Before we go any further, here's a special message for all of our listeners, especially to the franchisee owners and multi-location managers watching. In 2026, good enough AI is no longer good enough. If your chatbot sounds like a robot or misses the customer's frustration, you aren't saving money, you're losing clients. Your technology should be an emotional extension of your brand standards. Don't settle for vibe coding that lacks discipline. Invest in systems that actually understand intent, or you'll find yourself falling behind the brands that do. Now, coming back to you, Charlie, moving from vibes to structured, intent aware systems, it is what allows brand to maintain their consistency at a scale. So thank you so much for that great reminder. Now let's look at how emotionally aware AI is improving customer interactions as well. So go ahead and explain your perspective on how does emotionally AI, aware AI, improve the customer conversions as a whole because of the customer experience that the customer gets.
Yeah. So emotionally aware AI is our key differentiator
Mhm.
within the products we're building. And it's one of the biggest shifts happening right now because businesses at a core, they're all emotional, right? If you hop on a sales call, it's you're going after pain points. It's
Yeah.
emotion, understanding what's driving people to the site and why are they leaving at the basic. People don't buy just based on logic. They're based off of how something makes them feel, whether that's trust, confidence,
Yeah.
or just feeling understood at the basic of it. And traditionally, there's been something only humans can do well. Is understand emotions. What emotionally aware AI does is it brings that layer into digital interactions. So instead
Mhm.
of just giving generic responses, it can adjust tone, phrasing, timing based on the user. So if someone is confused, it explains something more clearly. If someone is frustrated, it responds more calmly. If someone is ready to buy, it becomes more direct, right? And this shift alone can massively improve engagement because users feel like they're being understood and not just processed. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of weight for a company to hold to connect with every visitor.
Yeah.
And that's something we're very focused on with ChatMX. What sets us apart is we're not just building a chatbot that answers questions. We're building a chatbot that actively understands a user's behavior and their emotion in real time. For example, if somebody is interacting with the site and they start showing signs of frustration,
Yeah.
ChatMX can alert a human representative instantly so they can step in before that customer drops off. Um,
Eh,
and what's more interesting is we don't just rely on conversations. We've built a frustration meter that analyzes a user's behavior across the whole website, even if they haven't interacted with the chatbot itself. So we can detect things like where a user is getting stuck, what's not loading properly, and where buttons might be broken, or why people are leaving unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And this gives businesses visibility into pain points they wouldn't normally catch. So instead of
Right.
guessing why conversions are low, they can
Mhm.
actually see it and fix it. And a good way to think about this is most business optimize for
Yeah.
information. The best businesses optimize for experience.
Right. No, definitely. That is again a great reminder because these small things they matter at the end of the day, right? And specifically with now AI coming into the picture, everything is sort of robotic. So this human touch, wherever possible, is much needed, and definitely adding emotional intelligence to automated interactions turns a friction point into a genuine customer connection and. That means a lot for a business. Finally, now, Charlie, let's explore your roadmap and what lies ahead for your AI ecosystem. So, if I were to give you a time machine right now and say you were to travel 5 or 10 years into the future, how exactly do you envision the longer picture that you have for Fermion AI? And also go ahead and share the Flux transform franchise communication that our listeners should know about.
Yeah. So our vision for Fermion AI is pretty simple. We want to make AI actually usable at a business level and not just impressive. Something people use. There's a lot of powerful technology out there, but most of it still creates that friction instead of removing it. It's like learning a whole new thing. So everything we're building is centered around one idea, making complex systems feel simple, accessible, and reliable for everyday businesses. And Flux is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Flux is a product we're currently in developing. We have an MVP right now,
Hmm.
and we're preparing to start testing in a few locations very soon. The goal is to officially debut it at ISBN to 2026 in Colorado Springs. Um, our first target market, due to the background my father has in the franchise systems, is going to be salons and barbershop franchises.
Hmm.
What we
Right.
noticed, And going back to why we originally started Fermion AI is these businesses are using multiple software platforms. They have their booking systems, their POS systems, internal communication tools, training documents, and anything else. But everything is so fragmented, right?
Yeah.
So instead of replacing these tools, we're not here to replace. Flux sits on top of them and it brings them all to one unified platform where all those systems are accessible in a clean, simple way. But the real innovation comes from the AI layer. All of the company's knowledge across every platform they use becomes searchable through one AI interface. So instead of digging through folders, messages, or different apps, you can just ask a question in your language and get a direct answer instantly.
Right.
And that will completely change how teams operate. And on top of that, we're solving a big communication issue as well. A lot of franchises rely on scattered group chats, your WhatsApp, your text, your email, different apps, your Slack, which creates confusion and there's no true structure there. With Flux, we're introducing encrypted, role-based communication directly inside the platform. So whether you're front desk and you want to talk with the hairstylist currently working, or if you're at head office in the franchise, I want to talk to the district managers across the board.
Mhm.
You only see what's relevant to you, right? So files, updates, product knowledge, all secure, organized, and easy to access.
Right.
We do this through integrations.
Mhm.
It creates one single source of truth for the entire company. And
Mhm.
zooming out, that's where we see Fermion going. We're not just building tools,
Yeah.
we're building systems that unify how businesses operate.
That was, very detailed explanation, and I'm so thankful for that because Flux sounds like a game changer, right? It's going to cancel out any of the unnecessary noise and just let the person focus on what truly matters at the end of the day. I'm loving this conversation, Charlie, and I'd love for you to be back. But for now, before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you have that you'd like to give all the founders and entrepreneurs who are intimidated to use AI and to take that first leap of faith and hope, what would you tell them and why?
I'd say don't try to understand everything. Just start using it.
Yeah.
A lot of business owners get intimidated by AI because they think they need to fully understand how it works before they can
Mhm.
benefit. And you don't need to understand how a car engine works to drive a car. AI is the same way. Start small, use it in one part of your business, whether that's writing emails, customer support, or internal processes, and build from there. Because once you see the value in a real use case, everything else starts to make sense. And I'd say don't judge AI based on one experience, as discussed earlier. A lot of
Yeah.
tools on the market aren't made properly. It leads people to thinking it doesn't work.
Right.
With the right approach, AI is one of the most powerful tools you could add to your business. And the biggest mistake right now isn't using it wrong, it's not using it at all. And
Yeah.
we're quickly moving to a point where AI isn't a competitive advantage anymore. It's going to be a requirement. So the earlier you get
Exactly.
comfortable with it, the better position you'll be in long term. And honestly, the goal isn't to replace what you're doing, it's to make what you're already doing, faster, easier, and more scalable. So don't look at AI as something to fear. Look at it as something to learn and grow with. And the businesses that lean into AI now are the ones that will define the next decade.
That's very well said. That is, another great reminder that technology is a marathon, not a sprint, right? And with proper discipline, you can win this race by just starting, as Charlie said. So, Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a
Thank you
pleasure
for
to
having
have
me.
you.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was Charlie D'Elia from Fermion AI Group, a masterclass in why AI needs to be emotionally intelligent, rigorously structured, and operationally aligned on truly transform a business. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. And lastly, a very special thank you to our podcast partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. See you guys in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.